John Olivier here, your host of Serious and Silliness Outcast and Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding. We have a great new sponsor, Jersey Alternative Medicine, Anti-Aging and Hormone Replacement Clinic. Just go to the website, njaltmeds.com. That's njaltmeds.com. Or you give them a call at 609-977-2981. So what do? They actually offer a variety of services like TRT replacement, medical weight loss, female sexual health, male sexual health, injectable peptides, anti-aging treatment. And this is all under the eyes of an actual physician. You fill out an intake form. You go over symptoms with a clinician, and they will customize medication that you could take. And the best part is it's prescribed by a physician, and it is delivered to your doorstep in all 50 states. You don't even have to leave the comfort of your home. That is njaltmeds.com, 609-977-2981. Go to Jersey Alternative Medicine now and get healthy. All right. I got a great guest today on Serious and Silliness Bodybuilding, Lee Priest. What's up, Big Lee? First of all, thank you for coming on, man. I truly appreciate it.
Good morning, or morning for me, isn't it? So, what is it? I've been up for 4 hours already. I was up at 3 a.m., drive down to Sydney here because I'm at Sam's Fitness where I do a lot of those videos for the equipment and just answer silly questions. That's why I got ATX behind me. But no,
what's ATX?
That's like a home gym equipment company. Oh, they make a lot of lifting straps, belts. If you were to Google ATX, they make a lot of good, even like industrial type equipment, but mainly a lot of home gym stuff and that. But you've probably seen ATX lifting straps and all that sort of stuff before. They're pretty big company.
Ah, very cool, man. Very cool.
I'm just here. Look at that. That's a good mug. It just says me watching all the drama unfold.
Yeah, it is. And there's certainly a lot of drama in bodybuilding, that's for sure.
No, you don't say.
Let me plug
one thing I hate, but I'm going to do while we're here because I hate when people eat on podcasts.
Oh, I don't give a
I'm
shit.
like, why do these fuckers? They know they got a podcast coming on. Can't they schedule their fucking meal, especially when they got a big bowl of chicken and rice?
Yeah.
Me, I keep it fucking real. Fucking Pop-Tart.
Yeah. All right. We're going to get to the junk food questions too, actually.
And people go, Lee, why do you eat it? Why do you eat it? I'll tell you why, because it tastes fucking good, you dickheads. That's why. I don't give a fuck about macros. I don't give a fuck. It's got carbs in it, don't it? Well, there I fucking go. This has carbs. It just has extra sugar and fat, so who cares?
What time do you go to bed that you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning?
I normally go up at actually 3:20 every morning, but normally go to bed about 8:30.
Wow, really? See, I'm just like, I got to be at work at 7, or I got to be on the job at 7. And then at night I podcast. So I don't get to bed till like 11, 12 o'clock at night, but yeah. I don't know. It is what it is. Got to do what you got to do. But anyway, I got to plug a couple of my sponsors before we get started into the questions. First one is New Jersey Alternative Medicine, njaltmeds.com for HRT and sex drive and fat loss and all that shit. Subscribed by a doctor, all that good shit. So go to njaltmeds.com. You can call them at 609-977-2981, and they deliver nationwide. So you don't even have to go. They'll send you the goddamn fucking meds to take.
Use Priest 10 as your discount code.
Yeah, it's all right. Use Lee Priest. Yeah.
I'll tell you to fuck off.
Yeah. And then the other one is Beer League Warriors Apparel. So go on Instagram, Beer League Warriors Apparel. They have the newest athletic gear for the gym. And both links are in my description. Okay.
Warriors Apparel, that sounds like clothing done by someone who used to be in Marine or in the military or army.
No, the guy's a college professor. Teaches history. No.
The name doesn't go with it then.
No, not at all.
Should be book smart apparel or something.
Yeah. The guy's
I'm a dork apparel.
Yeah, the guy's a college professor. He also has a podcast called Oh God, an offer you I can't refuse because he does a lot of mafia and organized crime podcasts, and that's how I met him because my other channel does that shit. And then he just started a clothing company, so I'm helping him out a little bit.
And then we see some of them take off, like we've seen with other clothing. You think, oh, what a dorky clothing thing, but some take off. Isn't it funny how some can take off and some don't?
No, it's there are certain. It's funny because there are certain businesses that are so flooded, and you still
Mm-hmm.
get like here or there, some of them take off. The one
Yeah.
thing that the one thing that I can't understand that took off was Wolfpack. Like, I don't understand why you need a backpack that big. It looks like you could store, you know,
I will
heads
thank
in it.
back because they did. Wendy from there did send me one when I did her podcast. But the thing I like about it is it's good I use it for traveling because it's got like places for my passport and I can put stuff in it. So I use it for traveling. I'd probably never use it for the gym, but traveling like a carry on is pretty good for that. So
Yeah, it's like a knapsack. I don't know. I see especially girls. I see them in the gym with the backpack. I'm like, what do you got in there? Holy shit, you fit dead bodies in there. I don't know. Go figure.
I know
I just
that's
got
to
my
put all their meals, all their prepped meals
yeah. Tell me
and
about it.
shit. But yeah,
It's
but I
a,
got a
it,
nice one. It's like a white, black, and red one. So I wanted
I don't
that
know.
color. I didn't want the general camouflage colors like people get because I've said it before. I hate when I see these people on the news. Someone's gone missing. Someone's gone missing. A hiker's gone missing. And then I think to myself, no wonder they go missing. Their fucking clothing, their tent, their back, everything's fucking camouflage, you dumb cunt. No wonder you get lost. I'm going to set up my fucking camouflage tent here, leave my backpack beside the tent, and go for a walk down to the river. And on my way back, I can't find my fucking campground. I wonder why. Because it's fucking camouflage, you fucking dickheads.
What happens if you get lost in Central Park? Do you have to wear?
I
Is the
don't know.
is the camouflage clothes like now a fucking you know a big sign that says sexually harass me?
Exactly. You can hide in the bushes and jump out. But, if you get lost in Central Park, at least there'll be always some drug filled person to give you a blowjob around the corner somewhere.
It's
So
it's it's the best of both worlds, man. It really is.
that's the park that keeps on giving.
Yeah. So I want to start off with a serious question that
Oh, serious question.
yeah. Why did you get so fucking fat in the off season?
Because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Pop Tarts. Actually, I actually preferred toaster strudels over Pop Tarts. And people say, why do they get so fat? It's like, I'm a bodybuilder when I was competing. Yes, the strict dieting, the cardio. But
Right.
when I'm not competing, I'm a fucking normal person. I like to eat hamburgers. I like to eat Kentucky. I'm not one of these dipshits that I used to see come into the fucking firehouse. I'd be sitting in the firehouse and I'd have a fucking burger, fries, bowl of ice cream. And again, they walk over and go, do you really eat that? No, I got it here for show, you fucking dickhead. I just got it here to make a display in front of me. And then I see these fat cunts sitting over there, big bowl of chicken and rice. I'm like, how
Yeah.
can you be that fat eating that? I said, you're just eating that shit in public to look good. When
Yeah.
you go home, you must be
Yeah.
eating pizza. So,
Absolutely.
like,
They're shoveling it in the darkness because
oh,
there are guys at my job that I'm a sewer worker in New York City. There are guys at my
yeah,
job that are so fat. And they when you see them, they're trying to eat clean, and I'm like, but
yeah,
you got to be eating in the shadows. I don't get it.
exactly.
Do you think that you're it's not a think. It's the truth. Your genetics gave you the ability to get that heavy on the off season because then you would snap back and you'd be in shape for a show
Hmm.
in a few months. I mean, you had 1% or 1% bodybuilding genetics. I mean, I use this. I use you as an example all the time when people want to get into bodybuilding and they're like, "Oh, I want to get my pro card," and they're in their 40s. I go, "Did you see what Lee Priest looked like at 16? I mean, he looked like he was a man child." I was like, "That's how you know you're going to be a bodybuilder." But
Well, I started winning shows like when I was 13. I won my first three bodybuilding shows at 13 years old. So, but I never got into it too to be a bodybuilder. That's when all these people say, I want to be pro. I want to be pro. It's like, well, today it's not hard to really turn pro, but back then it was to get a pro card was pretty hard and prestigious. Now, fuck, every Tom, Dick, and Harry can get one.
yeah,
But it's like back then, it's like if you got your pro card, it was something special. And then I tell people when they say I want to be pro, I said, "Do you know how hard it is to be pro?" Well, I said a bit easier now, but even to be a top pro, like you said, you're talking about the top 1%. or they write to me and go, I want to be Mr. Olympia. I'm like, whoa, whoa, hold back there. It's like, have you won a little local show yet? Have you done anything? It's like, the thing is, it's like, it's like if you're training good and you're eating good and resting good, if you never touch the drug, if you've got the genetics for it, you're going to fucking grow muscle. We've seen it.
Right.
You see a group of guys at the gym, maybe a couple of weeks training. They all train the same. They might be eating the same, but one of them just goes, and they're like, well, he's got to be on the juice because he's just fucking growing
Right.
out of control. But people just don't want to accept that in bodybuilding, in anything, there's just talented people like the Hussein Bolts, Carl Lewis's and shit. They're just going to be that 1% that can run that fast. They're going to be the ones who can just play soccer well or do basketball. They're just going to have these extra athletes who are that 1%, which doesn't mean you have to give up. But all these people that say, I want to be pro, I'm like, listen, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If you're training good and eating and resting, you're going to grow muscle and you'll know, hey, fuck, I'm good at this. This is something I can do. But it's like you said, it's the ones who do it year after year after year, pumping the gear in. They might be like, "Oh, I can't take this job because this job interferes with my training.
Yes.
I can't get in a relationship because that's going to interfere with my training."
Yeah.
Life passes them by. Now
Exactly. Yeah.
there's this old person in their 40s still trying to get a fucking pro card and this
Right.
and I'm like, "What are you doing?" It's like, if you love training, go for it. You can still train and be healthy and look good, but have a normal job and a life. But you've put everything, all your eggs in one basket to be a pro bodybuilder, and now you're near 50 and you're still, and then if you do turn pro, what are you going to do? Oh, you're going to do some obscure fucking master show? Because to me, even the Masters Olympia, to do the Masters Olympia should be past pros that have actually accomplished something, not just some old guy in the 60s who gets his pro card and goes, I can do the Masters Olympia now. How prestigious is that? Fuck me dead.
No, seriously. But even if you do a master show, I mean, like the Masters Olympia, what are you gonna do? Stand on stage next to Charles Max? I mean, you're gonna get you're still gonna get destroyed. I see that all the time because where I am in
Mm-hmm.
Jersey, bodybuilding is huge in North Jersey. I go to Signature Gym. You've probably been there before, and it's just it's everywhere. These guys and girls too, girls a lot too, and they justify it by like saying don't shit on my dream, don't
I know.
don't hate, don't I stay away from people that I'm just talking sense to you,
I
it's
know
like
exactly.
you're in your 40s, you're still trying to get a goddamn pro card, life is passing you by, you're feeling yourself full of fucking drugs,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to get quality money muscle anymore after 40, especially if you couldn't do it at 20, and they just keep on fucking
Exactly.
chasing a dream, and it's doing nothing but destroying half your life. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
by the time I got to 40, I realized that I had more time in back of me than I do in
Mm-hmm.
front of me. And I was like, I really better like take advantage of the years I got left. And like literally that's when I started podcasting, and that's when I started like taking chances in life, like, you know, within reason, right? And doing things that I wanted to do because, what do I got? 30, 40 years left? I mean, really.
Hey, I'm at 52, and I think that because all my great fans keep posting these wonderful videos when I'm younger, and I'm like, I remember that. Then I'm like, oh fuck, that was 20 years ago. But yet in my mind, I can look at a video and it's so vivid in my mind it feels like 7 years. But I'm like, fuck, that was 98 or that was 97. Time goes so quick. And I remember we've all heard it when we're younger. Our parents or someone will say, when you get older, time goes quicker. You're like, yeah, whatever. Sure it
It
does.
does.
And
It
then
fucking,
and there
that's
you get here.
unbelievable.
Well, I always tell my wife I'm going to get to 100. She's like, why 100? I said, because I'm 52. I still got at least another 50 to go, 48.
Wow.
So I'm
Yeah.
thinking something further. I don't want to say 70 because then I'm like, fuck, that'd only be like
20
18
years.
years or so.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I
No,
got
it's
shit to
true.
do. I
Yeah,
got more
yeah.
shit to do.
No, absolutely. It's the God's honest truth. I'm like, fuck, I got a bucket list
Mm-hmm.
that I fucking got to get to. But
And isn't it funny too? Did you find when you were younger and you were doing crazy shit, you're like, I don't care if I die young. Fuck it. I don't care if I die young.
you weren't
I
even
don't care if I
thinking of it.
no, it's like I don't care if I make it to 35. Who cares? 35's old. Now you get to 40, 50. You're like, 40's not old. 50 is old. Fuck.
You don't even think about it. Like when I was talking to a friend of mine when I was 23, I had Ninja 750, ZX 750.
Mm-hmm.
They don't make them anymore. And I remember doing
Was it the black and
120.
was it the black and red one?
It was no, it was all black. It was black and brushed
Okay.
aluminum. All right. It wasn't the famous green, blue, and white one. And I remember doing 120, 130. And it's just like and like nothing.
Yeah.
And like I still like motorcycles. You know, I have a Harley Davidson now. But now if I'm cruising at like 60 or 70, I'm good. But I still here's the thing, I still love those fucking street bikes. And I've been thinking about getting another one. And I've been looking at like
Mhm.
Ducatis and Buells and the BMW and all the street bikes, the GX6Rs at 1000. And this is the first time in my life I'm thinking like, my God, like that's pretty dangerous. That's fucking. I never thought of that at 23, and now at 48, I'm like, that's pretty fast, man. I don't know if I should do that.
I know. But isn't it funny too? It's like I said, you get older because I even sometimes catch myself. Like I was just saying before I come on, I got that fucking pinched nerve in my back right now that's just
Yeah.
giving me hell. It's like a fucking cattle prod when it hits. It's like, oh, trying to get out of the car. Sometimes takes 6 goes. I'm like, here we go. But sometimes I laugh because I'll be putting my shoes on in the morning and doing something. I'm like, listen to the fucking noises you're making. It's like all the sound effects that come out of your body when you get older. It's
Uh,
like, oh,
uh,
oh, ah,
oh yeah.
It's like when you're younger, you never made one noise. Now just bending over, I'm like, oh, fucking hell, oh, my
Oh, the
back.
best the best is warming up at the gym. I need 20 minutes to warm up before I even get into the workout.
Well,
It's like so when you used to get so heavy on the off season,
mm,
you used to bounce back. Do you ever think that was an issue? Because as a kid, I remember watching, because I was a huge fan. I've always been a huge fan of bodybuilding, right? And I'm going to tell you a secret that I'm going to be embarrassed to tell you, but the guy that I really liked growing up when I was a kid in high school was Sean Ray.
For a second, I thought you were going to say you beat off to my ProLab poster, but that's okay. Then, but Sean, Sean and I have our differences, but as a bodybuilder, you can't fault Sean. He was one of the best ever.
No,
So
yeah, absolutely.
you got to give him credit when it comes to bodybuilding. He was one of the best out there. His attitude and personality sometimes can rub people the wrong way, but fuck, I do that, so who cares?
It's a little bit different though. It's a little bit different with you and Sean Ray. But again, we'll get to him. But do you think dieting from such a high, because we used to get to about 280, right?
Yeah, 285. But the thing was too, when I used to do that, I wouldn't be taking any gear or anything. I'd just be eating food because
That's it.
I would take gear for like the 16 weeks leading up to the show. I might be on like three different things for 8 weeks, and then the last 8 weeks I just change it. Never did any more than three type of drugs and that. That's when, like I said, Harney would get mad at me because they're like, didn't Harney want to help you? I said, yeah, but I showed Harney how I trained. I did my 3 hours cardio and that sort of stuff because Harney used to come train for me before Harney was Harney. He was just a
Right.
normal guy, go on the goals. He'd come to my place and show me how he poses with his back, and then I just laugh and go, "What? You got no fucking back? What are you talking about?" So he
Yeah.
would hang out with us all the time. And all of a sudden, he became a guru, the pro creator. But I've never seen him create a pro. I've seen him take top pros already established. But it's like, yeah, he gave me. He goes, "How's your training?" He looked at that, said, "That's good. Diet's good." Then he just gave me a list of drugs. There's like 8 different drugs. I'm like, and Mike Yablon, who lives back east, so he was living with me at the time. We used to call him Five Jacket Mike. He worked at Gold's. He lived with me for a year, and he even looked at us like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then Harney would come around and, "How you going? You on those taking what I said?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm taking it." And I look at Mike. We're like, it's like, But then I did an interview saying that. He got mad at me. He goes, "You can't say that." I'm like, well, somebody asked me, how did you help me or want to help me? I said, you didn't change my training or diet. All you did was give me a big list of drugs to take. I said, that's the fucking truth.
If that's the truth, that's the truth.
I
That's
know. I
really
said, how
is.
can you get mad at that? It's like, that's the only bit difference you wanted to change. But yeah, I still but I found it easy because I do 2 to 3 hours of cardio. Like when I was heavy, like I said, I'd still eat steak and rice, but then an hour later I might have Kentucky, and then I might have chicken and vegetables, and then an hour and a half later, a big bowl of ice cream and Chinese food. So it was good and bad. So when it came time to diet, I just cut out the bad food in between or the good food, did the cardio. And that's the thing too, because I was off the gear for like, if I did the Ironman, the Arnold, the San Francisco, I was finished by March. If I qualified for Olympia, I had a good 5 months, 6 months off just to eat and get fat. And that way I found when I went to clean food and the gear, the body responds like that. That's why I don't get why kids stay on it. They do this cruising and bridging. I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking idiots, just come off the fucking shit. It's like, I don't get how people lose size. It's like, you got to do the foundation work first for, I reckon, at least 5, 7 years with no gear, build some quality foundation muscle. So when I come off it, depending what I was using or what I was eating back in the day. You might drop a couple of pounds in the early days from water and that, but I never found I lost any size. Where you see guys go, then they come off, they get, then they go up. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the fucking point? What's the
I
point of this?
honestly, I think you're just genetically gifted. I think you're one of the guys that are just, you look at weights and you were able to grow, you
Mhm.
know. And I think there were, even in the 90s and into the early 2000s, there were guys like you that would take it easy with the drugs and you could get away with it. Kevin Levrone was another guy. He used to
Mhm.
come off right. But then there were guys that were out of their minds, just like some guys today, like NASA.
Yeah.
I remember Milos was on Jay Cutler's podcast, 6 months ago or a year ago, saying that NASA took 500 milligrams of anadrol a day. I mean, so though you did have the guys that abused it, and
He
still
didn't.
were
He
on.
didn't. He didn't go on. He didn't go on there saying he was revealing that, did he? Because he doesn't like that word
No,
revealed.
yeah,
Don't, don't,
yeah,
fu-
yeah.
don't fucking don't bring that word up.
Holy shit, that's like that was like his trigger word, man.
Which like I love Milos. I know he's passionate, but I can see Xavier's side because Xavier with that thing, it's like it's going to get more views if we want to help Beirut. It's
Yeah,
clickbait. That's how it works. And Milos is like, but it's going to get more people to look at your channel. You're using, yeah, but the point is them looking at my channel so they can see what's going on, and some people might be able to help. So I
right.
don't get why that word
No,
revealed set him off so
I
bad.
have no idea why. It was like I said on my other podcast. It was like MK Ultra. Like
Yeah,
they made
they say
like
the word.
yeah, they say the word.
He's reading Catcher in the Rye, and he sees the word revealed. I got to kill the president.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. Oh shit.
Hey, look,
It's it's
I can look professional like you for a minute here because I got this here to do recording later. Look at this; it's not
oh
connected,
wow,
but
check that out.
fuck, now I look good.
Oh yeah, wow, that's a nice microphone, bro. Yeah, and that is actually an expensive brand. Holy shit.
I better not put it there. It might look like I'm doing some BBC at the corner of the camera. Well, get out there! Hey, look, I've got a special cameo by Kai. Hey, Kai, get back out of there, Kai. Stay back. That's Kai Greene just
Oh shit.
making a little appearance on the side.
The first time I ever heard the expression BBC,
Oh,
I was
hold on, it could be Sean Ray. Oh, wait a minute, it could be, hard to tell. They all look alike. Stop saying shit like that.
You're fucked up. Yeah. Oh, shit.
You're just realizing this now. It's
All
the
right,
sugar in the Pop Tarts. It's the sugar in the Pop Tarts.
so we know you don't like Sean Ray. You respect him as a bodybuilder, but you're not crazy about him.
But no, when I see him in person, we get on good. It's just like internet babble. It's just like
Yeah,
the
right.
fans like to see it. But if I see him in person, we're cordial. I
The
don't,
same,
I don't really hate anyone that bad where I wouldn't.
right.
Like I said, you'd have to really, because like I said, I don't really get offended about anything. To me, it's like you want to think a certain way, that's fine because I got my own thoughts on shit. I say stupid shit. You want to say stupid shit. So, I mean, you'd have to physically maybe hurt a family member of mine to get me
Right.
really pissed off. But
Yeah.
just words and shit and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, it's just give and take.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who
Yeah. It's
cares?
I tell like I said, I work in the sewer, and you'll have an argument with a guy, and the next day it's like nothing happened, and
Yeah.
you just go on working. It's just arguments happen, people disagree. It is what it is. Shit happens. It's you just move on and fucking get out of your emotions. It's ridiculous.
You work in the sewers. So are there any big
Yeah,
alligators down there like in the
no,
movies?
a lot of
Fuck.
rats, just a lot of rats,
Well, fuck,
unfortunately.
they're up on the streets too, walking
Yeah,
around. They're fucking
yeah,
rats.
just a lot of rats.
They're
Yeah,
all dead. They're all Democrats too.
that's
Don't get started on politics, Lee. I just actually my friend Jimmy the Bull sent me a video. He was driving his truck near New Jersey somewhere yesterday, and he had to pull over and he videoed Trump and all the cars going past in New
yeah.
York yesterday.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'm usually when one side is trying to assassinate the other side, that usually makes up my mind of who I'm going to vote for. When you're trying to kill the
Mm-hmm.
opponent, it's,
And
yeah,
you've had and you've
somebody's
had
not.
and you and they've had two goes at it, and you're like, you're pretty much you're as good as at the assassinations are as you are at running the country and keeping fuel costs down. You suck.
Yeah, yeah, you're
You
fucking
suck at
horrible.
it.
Jesus Christ, where'd you get these
Jesus.
amateurs from? No,
Fucking Stevie Wonder could have taken him out by now. Fucking hell.
he's everywhere. the God's honest truth. Oh man, but yeah, I think I think the only people that are really on Kamala's train are the real left loons, like
Hmm.
the cult left. Because I know people that are lifelong Democrats, and they're like they're out of their minds. They're it's just not doesn't work anymore. It's
Well,
just
I just don't understand. It's like Trump's best thing at the debate was when he said, she keeps saying, "Oh, we're in this there and this is this." I'm thinking, yeah, but you've been in for almost 4 years. The problems are from you and Joe. And then she
yeah,
keeps saying, "When I get in day one, day one." It's like Trump said, "Why day one? Do it tomorrow. You're fucking vice president now. You can do it tomorrow. You're
yeah,
fucking in. You're in now. You can
yeah,
make all these changes now.
one
Why are
hundred
we
percent.
waiting? Show us that you're honest on this." And like you said, with the border, you can go sign that thing. He goes, "Get Joe out of bed, bring him down, sign the paper. You can close the border tomorrow. You can open a pipeline tomorrow and do whatever." But she's just
Absolutely.
so full of shit. And then this whole rhetoric too, where when are they going to give up with the whole bloodbath comment? We know what he was talking about. When they're going to give up saying he's going to get rid of the Constitution and get rid of democracy? How the fuck is he going to do that? It's like
It's fear mongering. They don't
the
have, it's
guy.
because they don't have anything else to run on, so they
No.
try to run on your emotions. If they
Mm-hmm.
had policies to run on, they would, but they do not have
Oh yeah.
policies to run on. So they have literally have nothing they
Mm-hmm.
could run on. I
And the
mean,
thing is, too, he's already been president. It's not like, oh my
he's a
God, is he going
proven
to do this?
commodity.
He's already done it. He showed us what he could do, and the country was better. So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can hate the guy, hate his hair, hate his fucking tweets, but when you actually look at the facts, the numbers, and the statistics, he was a good president. So it's like I don't get why everyone's so deranged about Donald Trump. Oh my God, he's like Hitler. He's like this. I'm like, seriously? I'm like,
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
and
How
then
does
to say that January 6th, that was the worst thing ever.
Oh,
Oh,
that just blows me
that
away.
was worse than 9/11.
They
The
compare it
people
to
running,
9/11. Yeah.
yeah,
And
they say it's worse than that. I'm like,
I have to
I can't
shut. I
even.
literally when that happens, I have to shut the television off, or I got to change the channel.
Oh,
I can't sit there and watch it. I can't even if I'm watching a podcast. Well, like I'm
mm-hmm.
a big fan of like PBD Valuetainment.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, I was watching that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and every once in a while he has somebody from the other side on, and even
Mm.
when he does, I just can't take the rhetoric. I just it's
Who's that guy? Who gets on there? Is his name Yerk or someone? Yerk or
oh
and
yeah
he
yeah
like
the guy yeah I know what you're talking about.
he has his own podcast and he's like Trump's an
Horrible.
idiot. He's a clown. I
Yeah,
mean, everything's just like seriously.
he
It's
was
like
just on Piers Morgan with Candace Owens, and
oh yeah, I
Candace
saw his face there, but I haven't watched that one yet. Yeah,
Candace Owens like owned him. I mean, first of all, you can't debate with Candace Owens.
no.
If she's there are certain people that when they show up, you just take notes and listen. Like seriously,
Mm-hmm.
like you can't because she is one and every point that she has been backed up, triple
Oh, yeah.
checked. Yeah, right.
She's got all the figures and the statistics
Oh
and
yeah, and it's unbelievable. Anyway, when you first got to the States for bodybuilding.
that's politics. Now let's go into religion. Let's just piss everyone off.
Yeah. Well, okay, if you want to go into religion,
Do you have a pager or walkie-talkie on you today?
how many of these fucking Satan demon movies versus Jesus Christ Christians are they going to make? Every time you watch a horror film, it's Satan versus Christian.
Oh yeah.
You
Well,
ever
I think
see
they're making a Constantine. I think Keanu Reeves is going to do Constantine Part 2 and that. But we had the Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe. That was a
Yeah,
good movie. But then a month later, I saw this one called The Exorcism, and it's got Russell Crowe. I'm thinking, did they just rename it? I'm like, that's another movie where Russell
yeah.
Crowe's doing exorcisms again.
You never see Satan versus the Jews, Satan versus the Muslims. Every
Allah,
goddamn movie
Buddha.
is yeah, no. Every movie is Satan versus the Christian. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
how many times can you come up with a new idea? And I'm at the point where I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist, but I'm at the point where I get the point. I think I get the point at this. I think I get it. Right. But it's out of control with the ideologies that they're trying to push in every possible way. Oh, and I'm a huge movie fanatic. I love the movies, and they're destroying the movies. Tonight starts the new Penguin. I really hope they don't
Oh
fucking
yeah.
wreck them. I hope they don't destroy that, man. I really
Some of
do.
those, it's like I don't mind some of them, but then it's like I don't think you need to make a TV series on every character because some of them just
No,
don't go too
absolutely.
well when they're made into TV type shows. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
maybe if you made it like you know what I can do, the ones where it might be just a 3-part one, but each part's an hour and a half, so it's more like a extended movie rather than a TV series.
Right,
Like
right, right.
Gotham wasn't bad when it came out, but then I sort of lost interest in Gotham a bit. It sort of went a bit
Yeah.
after a while. So yeah, there's just a few things out there. But the thing I think with why they use Christians is because Christians are just like, we have lots of good weapons, torches. You know, the way we kill people. You had the Spanish Inquisitions that are in the all that. Whereas, you know, if Satan's going after Allah or those people, then what are you going to do? All you got's a backpack bomb and a mobile phone. It's like that's all.
Yeah, they're not much of a
Gets
threat.
a bit boring. Hey, hold on. I'm going to get the devil. That's him over there. Just
Yeah.
clip a page. Just clip the pager onto his jacket. We'll get him. It's like,
Yeah.
wait till the pager goes off.
I'll tell
Yeah,
you,
but like you said, though, you never see. It's always, yeah, like you said. But and then every religion that's been made fun of is always Christianity. But to me, it's like, you know, you always see them. If you burn the Quran, we're going to do this. It's like, to me, look, I'm not religious, but if I had a Bible and you burnt the Bible, I'm like, it's not my Bible. You
I'll
want to,
go buy another one.
yeah, you want to burn your Bible? It's not like I'm going to go kill someone about it. Or the only thing I do hate is when I see flags of countries being burnt. Because like if you're in America and you've come to America, you got to respect the flag. Don't have to go, oh, this cause wars. You came to that country for the freedom and everything it offers. But you just burn that flag. That's just like that should be mandatory jail. Fucking, you go into jail straight away.
No,
Because
I
why
couldn't
why
agree
can
more.
they do that? But yet, if I was to go burn the pride flag or anything else, that's a hate crime. But
Yeah,
yet, you can burn the American flag and just be like, oh, that's their right. But if I
yeah.
burn the gay flag, oh, hate crime, you're in trouble. I'm
I'll
like,
go. I'll go one step further. I'll go one step further. I don't even mind the gay pride flag or anything like that. You want to have gay month. It's when you try to push the ideology on kids.
uh,
That's when I'm like, nah, you can't.
mm-hmm.
This is a
Putting it in
sexual.
movies and cartoons and
Yeah.
yeah.
This is a
And
sexual
kids don't
ideology.
think that way. It's like when
Right.
you were young, we don't like maybe when you get in your teenage years, you start thinking about it. But if you're 6, 7, 8, or 9, you're not thinking sexual. You're watching a movie and a cartoon to be entertained. You're not like, oh, why is Fred and Barney kissing there? I don't
Yeah.
know. It's like kids don't have that in their head. You're trying to put an adult way of thinking into a child who's not even thinking that. It's like
Yeah.
that's ridiculous.
They're
So,
pushing they're pushing this ideology, but it's
and to
just
me, it's like they. To me too, I don't believe in the gay flag, and that was like they can have one. But to me, the American flag, the Australian flag, that covers everyone. That covers every trans American, gay American, whatever. You're fucking American. You're under that flag. That means everyone, no matter what
yeah.
religion, sexuality you are. You're fucking under that one flag, for God's
Yeah, and
sakes.
I don't think you should have the gay pride flag in church or in schools or in
Yeah, or government buildings say, oh,
government
about the
buildings.
Biden when he had them all hanging off the White House. I'm like, what the fuck? It
It's
looks like
just yeah,
Willy Wonka's house. What the
yeah.
fuck?
It was absolutely ridiculous. I don't know, man. Call me old school, but I
But
remember.
it's all virtue signaling. That's all I say. Virtue
Yeah,
signaling to make people feel good. It's like when something happens in Ukraine, everyone posts the Ukraine flag, the black square for BLM. I'm like, I don't join on all that bullshit. People get mad at me. Why aren't you supporting? I'm like, because you cunts weren't supporting it 6 months ago, a year ago. You're all worried about BLM. You put up the black thing about racism. You've never fucking mentioned it since. You just
right.
jump on whatever's
It's
happening
just
that
trendy.
time.
That's it. That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
trendy, and it's a pack mentality, and they just
Mm-hmm.
jump on. They just jump on the. Even if they're like they lock the country down
Mm-hmm.
from COVID, and they know that it was caused huge problems, and they will go right back to following the next trend, no questions asked.
Yeah.
And the one right after that was the Ukraine, and it's like, okay, so now we're just going to support Ukraine, no questions asked, after we just shut the country down, and we didn't have anybody to ask any questions before we did this, right? So we're just going to
Mm-hmm.
follow suit. There are people that will literally, the large majority of people will literally just walk into the fire if you tell them to walk into
Oh
the
yeah.
fire.
And now it's Palestine. And we had it like people got mad at me. There was a big march about a month ago. We go park our cars in Newcastle near the ocean on Sundays and that. All of a sudden you hear this, rah, rah, here they come. All down the road, blocking traffic, doing this. So I'm standing there, I'm like, okay, which one of you wants to fucking go there? I'll get you fucking plane tickets now. I start yelling at them. They're looking at me. Then I start yelling out, Israel. And the cops at the back. the cops at the back, some of them know me, just start laughing, thinking, "Oh fuck, look at Lee, he's going to start shit here." I'm just like Israel, because I'm like, you can have that. Okay, what's happening's bad. War's bad. We know that people die on both sides. There's never any winners in fucking war. So, but I'm like, you're blocking traffic here. You're ruining people's days
Yeah,
by
blocking
marching
traffic in
here.
Australia is not
Yeah,
going to help
no,
Palestine
it's
anymore.
like, how many kids in Palestine did you save today by causing this fucking commotion?
Yeah,
And like the other day in Sydney, they were protesting again, all for peace and this and that. But yet they're throwing fucking shit at the cops, bricks at the police. I'm thinking, you're here to talk about peace and all this shit, but yet you're causing fucking violence. It's like,
yeah. Do you guys have the right to bear arms in Australia or no?
we had that where the buyback program, you had, like if you're a farmer and you're in a gun club, you're allowed to have them. But to get a gun here now, you got to have a real good reason. But yet still, we have shootings because all the good people gave up their guns, but the
Right.
criminals still have them. So it's like,
Right. Do you think that that is one of the reasons why the United States hasn't gotten to the point of civil wars because we're able to have arms?
I think so, but I think mainly too, it's really when you look at these people that do shit with guns, they're not really the sensible gun owners, are they? It's always just some nut job that can get a gun. But if that nut job didn't have a gun, he can still get a knife. He could drive his car through
It's the
a
truth. You
fucking
see it in the
parade.
UK. You see it
So
in the
if
you
yeah,
see it.
yeah, if they're going to do something, if someone's determined to cause damage, they're going to cause damage. Yes, a gun can be more convenient and
Right.
quicker, I guess, in some aspects. But to try and get rid of it, and people go, "Well, you're in Australia, you're fucked." And I sometimes laugh, going, "Listen, mate, you can have all the guns in the world. Hey, Bobby, I
Yeah,
miss my
it's
dogs."
that's this is
Yeah, so
Jolene. Um
uh, it's like to
but
me, it's like I'm like, you can have all the guns in the world, so you could have all your fucking militia groups set up wherever you want. But if the government really want you, they just fly that drone over and go
oh yeah.
boom.
But
So it's like,
in the states, if you look at stats, I mean, it's not even close. If you look at the cities that are more liberal, like New York,
uh,
L.A., San Francisco, the only
oh,
people that are really have guns are the criminals, and they
mhm,
are and the crime is much higher than in Republican
uh,
states and whatnot. So if you go to the Midwest or you go to Florida, the crime is very low,
mhm,
and it's probably because one, the cops are don't take any shit in those areas because they don't have laws handcuffing them,
mhm,
figuratively speaking, and people have guns on them. And I don't. If I walk into a bank in Brooklyn and I rob the place, nobody has
yeah.
guns on them, and I have a gun, it's going to be very easy. If I walk into a bank in Georgia, and I know the 10 people that are in there are
with
packing, I'm probably going to
with
skip the.
with the big fat security guard sleeping in the corner in Georgia.
Yeah, but everybody else has a gun on them, so it doesn't
Well, I
really
remember
matter.
I lived in Texas for like 4 years. I lived in Austin, Texas, and we can carry guns and that. It's like I said, like many times you see some at the grocery store go to get their wallet out, they push their shirt back,
Yeah,
and you see a fucking revolver or a Glock on their
yeah,
hip. It's like, well, you're not really going to fuck with that person, are you,
yeah,
or do something? So,
absolutely. And I think since everybody knows it, um,
mhm.
they just actually, I think we're able to get in Jersey. I'm able to get a carry. I think they just started it like last year or the year before or something like that. But anyway, I'm glad I have you on for talk about bodybuilding.
Yes, yes. That's a boring
We
subject, really, isn't it? When you
yeah
think about it, bodybuilding is boring. But
we
that's why
talked.
I get mad before you go on. It's like, because I get like people always ask me for programs and diets. I'm like, why do you cunts now? I guess because there's so many things out there. People overcomplicate bodybuilding. It's so basic. You're
Yeah,
lifting weights up. You Lee, what do you do for biceps? And they get offended when I say I do the same as you. I do barbell curls, dumbbell curls, preacher
yeah,
curls. But what's a good arm one for me? I'm like, just what I said. If your arms are going to grow, they're going to grow. I'm
yeah,
not standing on one leg, leaning to the right, curling on a certain angle. There's no secret in bodybuilding. It's not the drugs. It's not this. Like I said, it comes down to genetics, hard work, and everything else. But there's no secret. So when people always go into this training, or should I do this? Or Lee, I want to work just this part of my
yeah,
tricep here. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
how are you going to
yeah,
isolate that without working the whole three heads of your tricep? I'm like, how about you just train triceps, do push downs, do overhead this, do close grip
yeah.
bench? I said, you're going to get everywhere. It's going to fucking grow. I just want to work the inner part of my chest here. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
well, how are you going to do that and not use this part of your chest? I'm like,
I've
that's
seen
just
that. I've seen that too. Yeah.
overthinking stuff. It's like,
Stop
oh,
reinventing the wheel. Yeah, I've seen that.
exactly.
I work till about 3 o'clock, and then I usually go to the gym right after. So there's usually a lot of high school kids at the
Oh,
gym, and I don't mind helping them, but I've seen that too, where, and it's not just high school kids, but I'm just giving you an example,
mm-hmm.
where I'll say, I could see that they're gonna hurt themselves or they're doing something wrong, and I'll try to help, and they'll give me some bullshit excuse. Oh, well, I'm trying to work my my good guy, my Tyrannosaurus Rex muscle or something like that. And I'm like, dude, it's fucking retarded. But anyway, Bob Ciccarello,
Oh, yeah.
I had him on not too long ago. It was pretty civil. Um, what are your thoughts on Bob? Do you get along with him? Because there seems to
Oh,
be the same
we always
relationship
have
with
our
with
same.
Sean
It's
Ray.
like Sean. It's about the same. Yeah,
Yeah,
but Bob has his versions of stuff, and I have mine. It's like when I did that Muscle Discord after I went on his show after Bob just give my answers on what Bob had said. And I've just said, I was suspended for life. The letter came from Harris Kagan. So, like, I'm going to walk around and make up a rumor. I got suspended for life. And then people from the IFBB themselves were told me, Lee, you can't come here because you're suspended for life. It's like, okay, it's just all a big conspiracy, Bob. But even that aside, when it comes to the athletes rep, it's like I said on Muscle Discord, when this subject came out a few years ago again, a lot of the new pros said we didn't know. That's why I said as soon as somebody turns pro and gets a pro card, they should get an email from Bob. Hi, you can have a generic email already set up.
right.
So it's like, they've got everyone's email address because they're all members of the IFBB NPC.
Mm.
Hi, I'm Bob Ciccarello. I'm the athletes rep. Any concerns you have, blah, 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 feel free to contact me. Then every quarterly, Bob could put out an email because when he was on the shows like your show and every other show, he's got to pat himself on the back. I brought in bikini. I brought in the 210, which went to 202, which now is 212. And I did this and I did that. It's like, that's great, Bob. You did it, but nobody knows. So why every quarterly don't you go, hey, competitors and pros and that, these are the things I submitted to the IFBB, to Jim and that. These are the things that we're going to do. We're going to change it. So it's like, it's not hard to keep people updated on what you are doing. So then they might have some more respect going, hey, Bob's working for us. He's trying to make these changes. Or then even every couple of months, have a thing where he does a live or he does something where, or even on the IFBB website themselves, you go to most company websites that has contact us, or there's a thing where you can leave a review or complaints. Maybe the IFBB should just have a section on there where the pros can log in and send him, okay, Bob, I had this idea. Could this work? And who knows, maybe 50 people have the same idea, and maybe Bob can maybe tweak it and go, well, that won't work, but maybe we can try this. So there should be an avenue where they can send him stuff and they can work together. Otherwise, just having that position, like you said, it's just in name. It's like, unless people know what you're doing and people can contact you and stuff. Because sometimes, like I said, even if someone doesn't like Bob, they might not really want to contact him. Be like, well, I don't really like him, so fuck him. I'm not going to ask him. So, but I
I don't
think there
know.
should be more. He should
Yeah.
be giving out more, letting people contact him more, and letting people know how they can contact him, rather than just be like, I did all this. When, okay, give people a newsletter every couple of months so they know what you're doing for them.
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know when I just like, to me, nobody's putting a gun to your head. Everybody knows what they're getting involved in when it comes to bodybuilding. If you want to be a bodybuilder, then you're gonna have
You're a fucking
to,
idiot.
yeah, yeah, you're gonna have to financially figure it out.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna have to figure out healthcare. You're gonna have to figure out, your own health. Never mind, health as far as
Mm-hmm.
what you're taking and your blood work. You're gonna have to figure all that out. You know what you kind of get
You're
getting.
going to have to figure out too. Mainly, the one main thing you got to figure out is you're going to get beat. There are people better than you. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
because,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, there's a little bit of politics involved in shit, but not every time it doesn't go your way, it's due to politics. Maybe you just
right,
weren't good on the day. So, yeah,
yeah.
there's so much in bodybuilding, but it's just that
It's
the position. I think the
it's
position could be better than what it is if somebody was there. Maybe not even Bob, because even though Bob says he doesn't get paid from the IFBB, technically, okay, you're not getting paid, but if you're emceeing shows, they're IFBB NPC shows, technically you are being paid some way from the organization because you're emceeing those shows. It'd be like me. Do you think they'd ever give me an MC job? It's like, we can't have Lee on the mic because the stuff he said before.
Yeah,
So,
no, yeah.
yeah. So it's like, if Bob did speak bad about him, about the NPC or IPB, you think he'd still have those jobs and stuff like that? Come on.
Yeah.
So
He does do a good job doing the
he
announcing.
does,
I
he
gotta
does,
give him
yeah.
that.
Well, I thought he did a good job, but my favorite was always Lonnie Tepper. I think Lonnie Tepper was probably the best MC when it came to shows because he knew. I'm sure Bob does too, but Lonnie would like know everyone's history, give them a nickname, and really get into their background and stuff like that. So I think Lonnie was probably the better MC of the two. But Bob has that like Bruce Buffer voice, so it's like it's
Yeah,
like, but it's
right.
like which is good, but it's like when he's like, let's go, it's like, Bob, find your own way. It's like, so when people do that, it's like you're copying Bruce Buffer. It's like, be original. Find something that you do that maybe people want to copy you. It's like,
Yeah. What was your relationship like with Joe and Ben Weeder when you first broke into the sport?
Ben, we never saw much because he was always up in Canada, I think, most of the time and that. So, but Joe, I go to Woodland Hills quite a bit. I get on good with Joe, go for lunch with Joe and stuff like that. And he was pretty good. He used to do, you'd always hate it if Joe come to a photo shoot though, because like I remember one I was doing with Robert Reef, it was the cover of Muscle and Fitness. I had two blondes with me. But I mean, you talk about Kelly Bundy type blonde. It's like, I thought,
Yeah.
you always hear blondes are dumb, jokes and that, but my God, these were, a rock would have had more intelligence. But
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah,
one
there's
photo
a
like,
direct correlation. The hotter the girl, the dumber they're gonna be. Yeah.
oh yeah. So I was like, we're doing all these photos and that, and like Joe would be, I want it done this way. Robert Reef, Joe, we can't do it that way. So, but there was a photo he wanted where, I do that pose like this. So I'm sitting there, no shirt on, covered in oil, my arms out like the crucifix pose. He's like, now get the girl to sit on your neck. So he wants the girl to sit on the back of my neck, do the splits across my arm, and I got to hold her sitting up, flexing my
Sweet
abs,
Jesus Christ.
covered in oil, and she's sliding. The fucking pussy feels like an octopus stuck on the back of my neck. It's probably the only thing holding her on. And now Joe's like, flex the arms, flex the abs. I'm like, fuck me dead. She's sliding off. So every time Joe come to a photo shoot, you'd always go, oh, fuck, we're in for it today.
Yeah.
But it was fun. That was always fun to do. It's like when I did I see Arnold every day and joke with him at World Gym, but when I did Arnold's photos for his encyclopedia when he redone it, remember one time we're just doing the preacher curls and Arnold's there and the photographer's like, stop. He walks over. And I was like, oh, Lee, we need more oil. So Arnold gets the oil. He's rubbing it on my arms. Let's go. So I start doing it. Stop. Arnold comes over, gets the towel. You're sweating, Lee. Arnold's dabbing the sweat off me. I said to the photographer, I said, fuck the preacher curl pics. I said, every time he puts oil on me and wipes my sweat off, get me fucking photos of that, will you?
Yeah.
I want to show people this is Arnold putting oil on me and wiping my sweat off.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's fucking funny. I don't even know what the hell I was going to ask you again. Oh yeah, actually, after you guys retire, after professional bodybuilders retire, how do you go about making a living?
I've been lucky. I've had, like I said, I left school early at 14. I had a normal job servicing fire equipment like fire extinguishers, sprinkler systems, and all that. And then I went from that to working in gyms, cleaning houses, and then I'd go at 10 o'clock at night and clean factories till like 4 in the morning. But even then, from 17, I was sponsored by Weeder through Victory Supplements. So I've always had contracts. And my last IFBB show was 2006. And I'm still around annoying people. So I've been going from the IFBB for a long time, but I've had just supplement contracts like clothing with Jim Reapers, S-Force watches, and now S-Force watches, they also have Super X Apparel. If you check out that page on Instagram, Super X Apparel, and then he got the contract now. He's making all, he just sent me the Assassin Creed one. I got the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe one. They're doing all Marvel tracksuits and training gear and all that, really, because he got the contract from Marvel. So
basically, really you were lucky enough to continue to have contracts even after you retired from bodybuilding.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the majority of the guys do that aren't that lucky?
I don't know.
Because I always wondered that. I'm like,
just speculating.
after bodybuilding, it's like, all right, what do you do now? You know,
live off their wife that's pretty much been supporting them the whole time anyway, who's got a job.
yeah, yeah. But now it's even worse because there are no contracts. So if you're not, social
No.
media savvy,
Mhm.
I don't know what
I
you're
think
gonna do.
you'd have to get a job. I think now that's where, because even back then people say what was better. I said, well, I think back then sometimes like we look at Hardy's conditioning now and it stands out, but Hardy's conditioning was what a lot of guys used to look like back then, and it was due to that reason. We had to fight for magazine contracts. We had to fight for supplement contracts. Every time you go into a show, it's like if I don't come in looking good, they can cancel my contract, or maybe if I do good, they're going to up my contract, sign me for another year. So you always wanted to really go at it. So now it'd be like if you could make more money on YouTube and Instagram and stuff, yeah, you go into a show, but I don't think you'd have that fire and hunger where your life depended on it because you're like, okay, I want to do well, but if I don't, well, fuck, I'm making more from YouTube. So, back then
Yeah.
you had nothing to fall back on. You really had to go into the show and prove yourself every time.
Yeah, that was the exposure. The show and the magazines were the
Mm-hmm.
exposure. But I'm gonna push back on you a little bit. I think Hardy's conditioning is very exceptional, even for your
Mm-hmm.
generation.
And that's what
I
I mean. But I mean, it would have fit in back then because a lot of people liked it. But when we see him today, it looks more exceptional now because there aren't many around him who are in that type of condition.
really think so. You really think that back then during the '90s, there was more
Well, I
guys look
think
like
you look,
Hardy?
yeah. Well, I think if you put him back there with like a Dorian and Nasser, Kevin at his best, Sean Ray, he'd still stand out, but there wouldn't be that glaringly like Hardy. You'd be like, okay, he fits in. Whereas now, Hardy stands out like he's so shredded because everyone looks like they're still a week or so away of that water film over the muscle and they're not as hard. So I think Hardy would have fit him better back in that day. So,
I think there is something to be said about the guys during your generation, with the exception of guys like maybe Marcus Rule or Nasser and Ronnie. They weren't nearly as big as the guys. The guys today are fucking huge.
mm,
Even the second tier guys are big. And I think the majority of them are coming in quality. Of course, I've seen guys that go on stage and they just can't hit the mark, right? I get it. But
mm.
I remember guys back in the '90s and the early 2000s that couldn't hit the mark either.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And there's a lot back then, but I think too now, because we have so much more exposure, you see it more. Whereas back then, like I said, the
yeah.
magazines and the videos, and then the majority of the time you'd see us in the Battlefield Olympias. But now, see, this is where I think, like to me, Nick Walker still looks great, but I think there's that fine line of getting too much exposure. Whereas now, when we see an Andrew Jack, they feel like, oh, they've suddenly put Andrew over Nick because we hadn't seen Andrew for a while, and when we saw him compete, they're like, wow, look at him. And like I said, because we see Nick, he looks great, but if Nick's posting photos every week of his lat spreads and that, people after a while people go, oh yeah, we've seen it. Or
Mm.
when you see so much of it, then you start getting nitty picky, like, oh yeah, but look at this, look at that. You start picking the faults more rather than go,
Mm.
he looks great. So if I was Nick, I'd be like, fuck, I'm just going to train covered up in t-shirts and shorts. All you're going to see is my forearm and calves until the day of the show. I wouldn't show anyone fuck all.
And there are bodybuilders that do that. Andrew Jack is one of them,
Mm-hmm.
like you said. Sean
Yeah,
Clarita is another guy who
yeah.
trains all covered up,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't show until the
And
day of
that's
the
why it's
contest.
impressive when you see me like, fuck, look at that. Where if you've been
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
it's
I
like
never thought of
it's like
that.
it's
Yeah,
like it's like yourself. Yourself. You can train, you can make gains or lose weight. You see yourself all the time. You're like, I look like shit. But if someone hasn't seen you for a while, to be like, fuck, you're looking good. You put size on. You're like,
right.
what do you mean? I look the same.
Yeah, I
So I
didn't
think
think of that. Yeah, that's actually a really good
I think there can be too
possibility.
much
Yeah,
exposure at some time. So you got to find that.
yeah.
Give him a peek here and there. But to me, it'd be more exciting if Nick was covered up and then every now and he just went abs or he just
Right,
rolled the
right.
arm up and flexed down. You're like, fuck, what's the rest of him look like? Because even back in my day, getting ready for shows, nearly everyone would be covered up. The only
Yeah.
way you could tell was you'd see someone, their face was all sunken in. You're like, oh, fuck, he's going to be ready because his face is fucking.
Yeah.
It's like you just knew it. Then generally, too, the smaller they looked in their clothes, the better they looked when they took them off. If somebody was still walking around really big, you're like, he's off and take his shirt off. He would be. But Chris come in, they used to laugh at me because I'd be dressed in black, big baggy clothes backstage. I'd go into the toilet, put my posing trunks on, put oil on, put my clothes back on, and I start pumping up, and that they're just looking at me like, I take my shirt off, all of a sudden they're like, where the fuck did that come from? It's like,
Right. Did you get caught up in the party? There was a huge party scene back then in the late 90s, early
no, never,
2000s. Not even
never.
with Chris, because Chris was caught up in the party scene.
No, I never.
I remember as a kid going out
Yeah,
in New York and New Jersey and seeing him at the nightclubs.
yeah, no, never. I never. It wasn't until I had a girlfriend once 42, I'd been back home now, like 2012, 13, was the first time I tried like cocaine. I never drank, smoked, did anything until 42. It's like, I was
Really?
just never in the party. And I went to, I've probably been to 3 nightclubs my whole life. I went into one, it was that busy and packed. I'm like, people are jumping around, you can't hear. I'm like, how the fuck is this fun? I guess because I
Right.
didn't drink or anything. Being sober in a place like that, it's like you got to be off your head to fucking really enjoy this type of shit. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
never, I never got into it. The after parties, never went to them. We had to go to the banquet after. We used to have to go to a banquet before the show, which was on the Friday night. So I mentioned this on Muscle Discord the other day when I crashed his show. I said we had to go, we had to go there because it was in our contract. If you didn't go to the things leading up to the show, if you didn't do the battle for the Olympia, you got suspended. And that's one of the things I'd argue about. I'm like, I've qualified to do the Olympia, but yet if I don't do this video leading up to the Olympia, I can't compete in the Olympia, and I'm not making any money from this fucking video. It's like, and then it was the banquet before the show. So the night before, when you should be relaxing, tanning up, we had to go out in a suit and hang out with the VIP people while they're eating fucking pizza and shit. And that
Yeah, right, right, right.
people say to me, Lee, why is everyone so miserable? I'm like, well, they're fucking competing tomorrow. We've got to sit here and watch all you people eat fucking food. And that's
Yeah, right, right.
but and then after the show, we have to go to one after the show. But normally Paul Dillette and I would see where Wayne. He's like, "Where's fucking Wayne DeMillion?" There he is. We'd walk past and go, "Hey Wayne, how you going? Good dinner and that." And then we'd fuck off out the back door because it's like he saw us, he knows we're there. And now we're fucking off.
Right, 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 right.
They'd be
Yeah.
like, "Lee, I didn't see you after that." I said, "I was there. I must have just been lost in the crowd somewhere."
So you were always famous for your Superman posing. That was that one
Mm-hmm.
time he came out with the cape.
Oh yeah.
You guest pose at a show that I went to when I was a kid, 20 years ago, whatever, in New York City. I thought it was the Eastern USA or the East Coast or
Was
something
I
like that.
fat? I didn't guest pose often because I was
No,
always fat.
no, you were in shape. It was a couple of weeks before the Olympia,
Oh,
and
okay.
you had the Superman ring on. You
Mm-hmm.
had a watch. I want to say it was a Rolex, but it might have not have been a Rolex with the
No,
with the
never,
with the
never,
Superman.
never wore a Rolex. No, that would have
Okay,
been.
so you
I
had the
think the
Superman
I
Superman
think that would
watch.
have been either Fossil. I think Fossil and Invicta brought out a couple of limited edition Superman ones, but I think I would never spend any more than 200 on a watch.
Oh, okay.
And the reason was, it's like I just never saw the value in watches. So I don't
Yeah.
see the value in brand name shit. But I remember Kevin one time after at Arnold, we're overseas, and he brought a Rolex. He's like, "Look, Lee, 25K, 25K." I'm like, "Look, Kev, $200. What's yours do that?" I said, "What's yours do that mine doesn't fucking do?" Now I've even got friends today, and they'll be wearing their Rolexes, like big note themselves. One of my friends, he had one. It was a limited edition. I think it's like over 100,000. It had like rubies
Wow.
and gold and diamonds. And he's like, and one time I said, "What's the time?" He's like, picks up his phone. I said, "Oh no, why don't you look at that nice expensive
Oh,
watch you
yeah,
got?" I
right,
said,
right, 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 right.
I
Yeah,
was like,
exactly,
even though
exactly.
we wear watches, people always pick up their phone to look at the
Yeah.
fucking time. So
And you
I
and
think
you
they're
used
just
to wear the
showpieces.
you used to wear the Superman necklace too. I remember
Mm-hmm.
that, right?
And I had the
Which
bracelet, had the Superman bracelet.
I don't remember the bracelet, but I do remember the well, obviously you would know. Which Superman was your favorite?
You have to say Christopher Reeve, but I used to love getting up when I was young because I've always been early morning. I used to get up at 4:30 in the morning and watch George Reeves on the Superman
Wow.
TV show, the black and
Yeah.
white one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I used to Christopher Reeve. I didn't mind Brandon Routh when they made Superman Returns because he looked a bit like Christopher Reeve. But
I
I think
hated that one.
did you? I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
And then Henry Cavill, I thought was probably the best Superman, and this new guy for Superman Legacy. I don't like always because I like someone like Henry Cavill. It's hard to see a change, but
Yeah.
he looks like a young Henry, so maybe he'll do a good job. Because I remember the same thing when everyone heard, "Oh, Ben Affleck's going to be Batman." We're all like, "Oh, fuck, there
Right,
goes
right, right.
Batman." But yet
Yeah.
he wasn't bad at Batman.
No, he did a good job. Yeah.
It's almost
Absolutely.
like when we first heard that Heath Ledger's going to be the Joker. We're like, who the fuck could do a better job than Jack Nicholson? And then when
Right, 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 right.
Heath Ledger
Yeah.
became the Joker, we're like, fuck, that was incredible.
Which one of the Christopher Reeve ones was your favorite?
Probably the first and
The
second.
first one?
I think after that, when they did, was it four when they were saving the world from nuclear power?
Yeah, the third
Nuclear.
one
Was
was
like,
all Richard Pryor,
thank you. Oh
which
yeah,
which was
yeah.
which was
Thank you.
terrible. And then the fourth
Uh,
one was the nuclear power one. Yeah, right.
at the back. At the back.
Uh,
Yep.
and yeah, the first and well, the first one had Marlon Brando in it,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was in like 10
As his
minutes,
father.
and he was in 10 minutes of it. And back then, I think that movie came out in 78. They
Yeah.
paid him $4 million for that 10 minutes of work.
I know
Yeah,
that's why I always used to hate thinking of stuff like that. Because I used to think, well, what we put our bodies through in bodybuilding, I know all sports are different, but yet, we could see someone sit on a bench and make 100,000 or more sitting on a bench and never playing, and we're busting our ass. And
yeah,
I told the story once. I was living in Texas. I was getting ready. It's the Ironman that I won, '06. I think I got 15,000 for winning, but I was still like 2 weeks out. You're in that last part where, physically you're fine, just mentally you had enough. You're like, why am I
yeah,
fucking doing it? Fuck it, I don't want to do it. I should just pull out. But you've come this far. Those fucking
right,
head games.
yeah.
And I was watching the TV and I'm like, oh, what's this on? ESPN's on. And there was this fucking huge stadium in Vegas, crowd everywhere, $1 million first prize. I thought, oh, this looks fucking good. And guess what it was? $1 million first prize. It was the World Championships of rock, paper, scissors.
Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here.
And here I am on the treadmill, busting my ass. I'm thinking, if I win, I get 15. This cunt's standing there going,
Wow, Jesus Christ.
I'm like, it's like now I go to car shows. I love it because I take my got a '68 Camaro at the moment and it wins trophies. I go home. Look, I got a trophy. My wife's like, your car did, you didn't. I'm like, who the fuck cleans the car? I do. So now it's like I'm living through my car because I can go to car shows, eat hamburgers, and still go home with a trophy. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You started getting into car. I remember you had a vet, right? You were a vet guy for a little while.
I had Dodge Vipers, Lotus Esprits because I love the Lotus car from James Bond. The Aston Martins I've had. I pretty much had the Dodge truck, the Viper truck. I had a couple of H1 Hummers. I'm not actually a. If I like a car, it looks good, it's got a good motor, sounds good. I'm not like just a strictly Ford or strictly Dodge
Ah,
or
gotcha, gotcha,
Chevy.
gotcha.
Like at the moment, I just have like a Holden, which is like a GMC station wagon that for the dogs, and then I just have a four-wheel drive, and then I have the '68 Camaro. But
Hmm.
I go through stages. I love the Camaro, but then I like there's a place out here that has like the old military Hummers. I'm like, maybe I should sell the Camaro and just get a good old military fucking Hummer and just go bashing around in that again. So, when you have something really nice like the Camaro, I worry about where I park it and this and that. Whereas the Hummer, I'm like, fuck it, I had to drive
Yeah.
my Hummer in LA. People didn't let me in. I'm like, fuck it, I'm putting the indicator on. Here I come. I just
But you
start
did you
moving.
did get into racing for a little while, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, I did like road racing and won a few races and circle track. And then I finished up in dragsters and I won the championship racing dragsters. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I had a neighbor growing up that did super gas cars. He had
Okay.
a 67 Firebird. And
Mhm.
this is back when I was living in New York, and this is back when men were men, you know.
No,
And and
that's very, very rare these days.
oh yeah, it's unbelievable. And I remember his name was Louis. Yeah, right. His name was Louis, and every Sunday
Even
morning.
sounds like a back east name from somewhere back. Louis.
Yeah, that's it was. And every morning on Sunday, he would put the car
Oh,
in
would he
his
start it up?
trailer. Oh yeah, to wake up the whole neighborhood. And then
Boom,
I would
boom, boom,
get
boom,
I would
boom.
get excited and go to the window and watch
Mhm.
him. And then I remember one Sunday morning I'm watching
See
him.
that? You jumped ahead of yourself there, didn't you?
Yeah.
After you watch him and see him, then you go to the mirror.
Yeah, yeah, it was a
Oh,
Freudian slip.
I love the smell of nitro in the morning. We know what
You
you're
know,
doing.
I had a bunch of questions to ask you. Forget it. I don't even think I got to one. So, but anyway,
You wasted your time trying to be professional with me, didn't you?
yeah, it was fucking
Note to self:
horrible.
if I ever have Leon again, no prep work needed.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much what happened. It's just
Yeah.
unbelievable. Oh
Well,
shit.
ask me a question. What question you got written down there? What's something good?
Okay. Um, Which
Oh,
bodybuilder, when you first came to the stage, which bodybuilder actually looked out for you? I know you've had beefs with like guys like Sean Ray and Bob Ciccarello, but was there a guy, an actual active bodybuilder that looked out for you and said was a good friend?
not really. I met the first day I got there. I met a guy called Kurt Miller, great bodybuilder, similar to Flexor structure. We became like brothers and that, and it was probably like I got on good with him, but never really had one look out for me. Like I got on good with Matarazzo, Paul Dillette, and Paul Dillette separated from his wife. He lived with me for 8 months, but never really had one that sort of looked out for me. Like Ed Connors, I stayed at his house when I first got
Hmm.
there for a few months, and that till I got my weeder contract and got my own place. But no, I didn't really think I had one that actually looked out for me and stuff. So in the beginning, they didn't like me because they're like, "Who's this fucking young kid from Australia, fucking getting all the attention?" So it was
Yeah.
like I was on the outs.
Yeah, you were a fan favorite, man.
It's
You
like,
was
who's this fucking white cracker coming into our gym? Fuck him.
yeah, yeah. Crack ass cracker.
Exactly.
All right. I have you on for an hour. I don't want to take up any more of your
Huh,
time, man.
that's okay.
Uh,
Give me one of the questions that you prepared. So
oh
give
yeah,
me give me one or
I
two.
did. All right. You want another one? All right.
Yeah.
The other question was, how did you feel when you heard that Ronnie Coleman would hate losing to you?
So I found that better than winning anything. It's like I remember when I first heard that on the Patrick Bet David thing. I was actually meant to go on there, but then COVID come along and didn't quite make it. But yeah, when they said, "What's the worst thing?" Like, was it losing to Jay? And then he's like something else. I'm like, "Wow, I affected you that much, did I, Ronnie?" And then when I heard Jay get asked who was the freakiest you ever saw, and Jay goes, "Would have to be Lee Priest." And then Ed Connors, I think on Dave's show once, he asked Ed, since you're owner of Gold, you're there, what, 30 odd years owning Golds, who was the freakiest bodybuilder you ever saw in the gym? And I'm thinking, well, fuck, who hasn't been in that gym? Victor Richards, everyone. And Ed was like, I'd say a young Lee Priest. So hearing that
Really?
from people in the industry, I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. So,
That is cool,
yeah.
man, because it's like because all those guys are great bodybuilders and they were pointing to you. That's
Mm.
a huge
But
compliment.
that's why even when Jay said, he's like, the freakiest they ever saw. And Jay's like, you have to remember, I was competing with Ronnie, standing near Ronnie on stage. But the freakiest I saw was a young Lee Priest when he was in his early 20s. So I'm like, oh, that's nice. So
Yeah. That is pretty cool, actually. Which
look, look,
which
look what they just brought me here too. This is just so you know, I'm eating good food.
wow. Very
And
nice. What happens
you
if
think
you
you think I need insulin with all this?
shit, and you don't get fat, huh? You just fucking just comes off.
Well, I do. I do. I just wear baggier shirts.
Which,
I just train forearms and calves because that's all you see these days.
yeah, that's it. That's it. One more
under
question, I'm
here,
gonna
under
let
here
you
is a
go.
fucking mess. It's a fucking mess under here.
I don't know. I think you keep yourself in pretty good shape now. Like back then when you were on the off season, it was like, you were a butterball turkey, you know?
I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to weigh 285 now. As I'm getting older, I might be on that death list of people that have passed
Oh
away.
yeah, fuck that. I don't blame you, man. Like it's
I do.
ridiculous.
I do a bit of boxing now too when I
That's good
can. Just for
cardio.
oh, that's what I did. It's like I've been doing it probably 2 years. If I had an injury, I had to stop a bit. Then when I stopped, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to get back into it because it's too hard. Because I
Yeah,
remember when
right.
I first went to do it, I got a guy here who trains a lot of good Australian fighters. He's like, Lee, come up. I'll just give you private sessions because I didn't want to go to a boxing gym. It's like I walk in, muscle and tattoos. Oh, who's this guy? I think he is
Oh
fucking me. I
yeah.
said,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
look,
yeah.
mate, I'm just here to do cardio or whatever. So,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, when I first went, I'm like, fuck, I do treadmill, I do stepper. This would be easy. It's like after a first
Nah.
couple of hitting the pads, I'm like,
It's
and
a
I
whole
remember
different
after 6 months of pads and just footwork, I remember the first time I sparred, it was like, it's a 3 minute yet. It's a 3 minutes. It's like, of course, your adrenaline goes up, your breathing's a lot different.
oh
And like I
yeah.
said, getting oxygen to the muscle, it's like sometimes it wasn't bad, but then there's other days you're like, that's got to be 3 minutes. So I look out the corner of my eye,
It's
a
a minute and
minute
a
30
half.
to, I know you're thinking your lungs are burned, then you get hit. You're like, now I've got to get my ass. Sometimes I just joke them and say, fucking knock me out so I can take a nap, will you? I've had
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, uh, it's
So,
two totally
oh,
every
yeah.
sport is a little is extremely different.
Mm-hmm.
And you tunnel your energy differently in every sport.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the
Mm-hmm.
way it goes.
But like you said, cardio wise, it's like a whole
Oh,
different
it's a
animal,
whole different
fucking
because
boxing.
I've done it boxing classes and I've actually been thinking about doing it again.
Hmm.
Before because I'm getting older. I'm 48, and I really
Yeah.
need to start doing more cardio.
Well,
And
that's why I did it because like
yeah,
I'd sometimes do an hour on the treadmill. And how boring is that?
oh, it
You like I said,
sucks.
you do 30 minutes of boxing training and shit like that. It's like fucking feels like you've done 2 hours on the
Yeah, and
on the
it's
treadmill.
fun, and it's
It is,
fun.
yeah, it is. It's not boring. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
if you especially if you're sparring and you get a bit because even sometimes when I'm sparring, I would have been like hands are here. Like this, and then people like, Lee, your hands coming down. I'm like, no, it's not. Oh, fuck, it must have been down half
I guess it was. Oh
in my
shit.
mind. But yeah, because sometimes I like train too, because your shoulders would start to burn. So even just that little bit of drop, I'm like, that seems fine. Oh fuck, he
Yeah.
clipped me. So
Yeah.
yeah, but like I said, I
Nah.
enjoy it. But the thing I used to hate was I'd occasionally put up videos. I've been doing it for a year. You sped that video up. I'm like, I don't know how to speed up. It's like you can't have muscle and be quick. I'm like, well, it's like anything. If you train and keep training and training, you're going to become quicker and better at it. Like when
Of
I first
course.
started,
Yeah. Yeah. It
and
was
that,
like
but yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, but it's like, and then I poke the pitch. Someone goes, "Oh, you think you're tough? Do you boxing? I've been boxing 15 years. I'd fucking knock you out." I'm like, well, I hope you would knock me out if you've been boxing for 15 years. You
Right.
should be
Right.
good at
Right.
it.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be like me if he's been training 6 months and I say, get on the Olympia stage. I'm like, fuck, I'm
Yeah.
not here to
Yeah. Yeah.
impress
Yeah.
anyone
Yeah.
or try and prove anything. I'm just doing it for fun. Fuck me,
Yeah.
man.
Exactly. Exactly. No, it's 100%. And I've noticed that the nicest people are usually the legitimate
Oh
tough
yeah,
guys.
they are. Yeah,
The
they,
nicest people
like
in
I
the
said, I
world.
know the ones, and they're like the quietest, most polite.
They're
It's
nicest
like
because they
they,
had
yeah,
nothing to prove,
exactly.
and then you find
Because
out that
I've
he
always said
buried
that.
three people. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're in a bar, it's always that loud mouth. You're like, yeah, not too worried about. He was that quiet guy that just sits there and doesn't say a word. He's the
Yeah.
one that will.
No, it's the God's honest truth. I've had on my other
Mhm.
channel because I have two channels. On the other channel, I do a lot of interviews. I've interviewed a lot of mob
Yeah.
guys and a lot of biker
Hmm.
guys. And like I interviewed Larry Mazza, and he was a former made member of the Colombo crime family, nicest guy in
Yeah.
the world. But he went to jail for murder, for 4 murders.
Well, did you find it too? It's like guys that who can fight too and legitimately fight. They were like, if they're in a bar and a situation happens, they will really try and talk their way out. It's not because they
That's
can't
right.
fight, but they would rather use other options before it goes to that because they know if it goes to that, shit's going to get crazy if they know they can fight type thing. It's like if you know you can do something and prove something, you have nothing to prove to anyone. So it's
That's
like,
right.
why do I need to get involved in this for? It's just better off walking away because, like I said, if they do something, then they can get, well, this day and age too, where you're a trained fighter, they're lethal weapons and all this
Yeah.
sort of shit now. So it's like,
And yeah, you'd be sued like nobody's business. It's not like it was years ago where you took a beat and then you went home. It's unbelievable.
well, even back in the old days, you get into a bar fight in Australia, and you could get an argument with someone. They'd go outside, fucking slog it out. One guy wins, one guy loses. You'd pick the other guy up. Come on, let's go in and I'll buy you a drink. It was over and done with.
Yeah.
Argument was done. Now it's like you get into a fight with someone. Their mates jump in. They kick you when you're down. If you beat them, they get pissed off, go away, come back, and try and shoot you later on. It's like
But yeah, there's
there's no
no there's no
no honor or not like honor. You
right,
say honor,
exactly.
but yeah, it's just like it's
Mm.
like a means agreement. If we're going outside the fight, we're
Well,
going to fight, and
that's the
that's
problem,
when
isn't
it's
it?
done. It's yeah, when it's done, it's done. That's it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Is the fact that the young boys aren't being raised by men anymore,
No,
and so they're being
they're being raised by LGBTQI plus WD-40 R2D2 C3PO. I don't.
and they're in their emotions and they don't know how to control their emotions because nobody taught them to. They live in their emotions. And they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I lost a fight. I'm going to come back and fucking kill him. And what you don't realize
Mm-hmm.
is that you gained respect from that person just because you fought him.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, if you defend yourself, you've gained respect, win, lose, or draw. That's
Exactly. Well, I've actually seen fighters who can fight get into a fight and they go to do something and someone turns up like, okay, let's fight. And the guy will be like, mate, I really don't want to do this, but we'll shake hands and I give you credit for turning up to fight. But because the guy knows he would fucking knock him out anyway, but he goes, I'll give you credit for turning up to take me on type thing. So they didn't even get to the fighting part. So,
yeah, 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 yeah. No, it happens to be true, and that's how you're supposed to manage arguments, physical
mm-hmm.
altercations. Is once it's done, it's done. Matter of fact, I interviewed. This is a great story because I didn't know this. I interviewed his name was Pee Wee, and he was a former leader of the Las Vegas chapter of the Hells Angels, right?
I say Pee Wee, but was he like 7 foot, fucking 400
Exactly.
pounds?
He was, yeah, he was 6'5", 370 pounds. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And he was in a smaller club. And anytime in the smaller club, anytime that there was a problem, you'd go to the club president and they would have a sit down or whatever. And he went to the Angels and they would try to figure it out if it was something large, if it was a serious problem. But if it was, he said that if it was a problem like this guy owes me money, they would look at you like, well, go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they would have this unspoken law that if two guys in the club have a beef, they scrap at it and then it's over.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody could jump in,
And that's the thing where they said, even like I said, as bad as people say the mafia was and that, they did have rules, they had laws and that. Whereas sadly here in Australia now we have a lot of bikie gangs where younger kids are getting into it. They're bringing more drugs into it. They're on Instagram, so they're bringing unwanted attention. Where
Right.
the older members are like, we don't want to be a part of this anymore because you're bringing all this negativity to us and stuff like that. And it's just like
Yeah.
putting them in a bad light. Because, like I said, yeah, you can have bad apples in gangs, but I've got friends in bikie gangs, and they're some of the nicest people you'd ever meet. I mean,
Oh
covered in
yeah.
tats. They look like serial killers, but they'll do
Yeah.
you a good deed before they did you a bad deed. And that's why I always laugh when all these people talk shit online. I'm thinking, it's like the mafia or gangs or someone. It's like, if you want to get someone, you don't go, hey, I'm going to knock you out, I'm going to do this. You just walk up to that person and, hey,
Yeah, that's
come on.
right.
It's
That's
like,
it.
there's no words. It's just,
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
down.
The legitimate tough guys
There's
know
no
that.
in the face yelling at each other. Come on, come on,
And
come
you
on.
know
It's
what's
like,
funny when you run into a legitimate tough guy, you could tell.
oh yeah.
You could tell
Mhm.
immediately, right? You could tell. It's like
That's when your mind starts going, oh shit.
yeah. It's like you could tell this person's energy. This is he's done this
Mhm.
before. He's been in this situation before. When
Mhm.
you are in a when a man is in a position where it's he has to become physical and he's controlled and calculated, you're like,
Mhm. Mhm.
wait a minute.
It's like I'm about to get a beating here. I'm going to take it like a
Right,
man.
because getting angry would be the normal,
No. Mhm.
right? Flipping out, getting angry. Yeah,
I
that's
know.
so that means that you've been in this situation so many times that you know how to deal with it.
Mhm.
And sure as shit, that's
It was
exact.
funny.
Yeah,
It's like
there was a
with the box. It was like with the boxing doing that was funny. It's funny you said it because I remember, like my friend would do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I remember once I was just fucking around with him, and I was like probably 240. He was like 180, and I tell you, it was like a cat playing with a toy. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm going to get him now, and I'd do this, and next thing he'd flip me over,
No.
and like he'll just pin me down. I'm trying to use all my energy. Yeah, because I said flip me over, get your mind out the gutter, you fuckers. The peanut gallery's entered the room. Yeah, here we go. Going down. Yeah, so it's like he's just toying with me, and I'm using all my energy, and he's just like, dude, I think,
Yeah,
okay, in my mind, I'll turn this way. Now I'll get him as soon as I turn that way. Fuck, okay, got me again.
yeah, right,
It's
right.
like everything. I said they've done it that so much and done it over and over. To them, it's just like second nature.
It's
It's like
child's play. Yeah.
you're not gonna win. So it's like,
Yeah, don't even bother. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
fuck it.
Listen,
Yeah.
Lee.
Now
I
give me one
think
more question. Give me one more question. Then
another
go
one.
like this.
Okay.
Go like
Jesus
that. Pick
Christ.
one more.
All right.
I don't want you to put all that time and effort in there
All
writing
right.
down.
One more. All right. One more
What
question.
who are you having on next? Who's your next guest to come on?
The next one, on this channel, it's probably not going to be. It's probably I have Jason Owens that comes on Muscle Talk every week with me.
Oh, Jason. I
Yeah.
don't mind Jason. He was a good competitor in his
Yeah.
day. So when Jason, I'll say, Jason, I got some questions to ask you because that fuckily priest just rambled on about shit. Now, can you
Yeah.
answer these questions?
Well, if you want, he comes on every week. It's me, Jason Owens, and then Bo Lewis.
Oh,
He competes now
if
in
you're if
212.
you're on if you're on live and I catch it, I might come on and start annoying you in the comment section.
If you yeah, we record every 8:30 every night here at 8:30, which
Oh yeah,
is
that's not too. That's
what,
like
about 10 by you, something like that, 10:30.
yeah, that's a normal hour for me. Yeah,
If you want to jump on with us, you're more than welcome because
I'll come. I'll come ruin the show.
yeah, absolutely. Well,
Well,
that
we,
next
we were talking bodybuilding till he turned up. Now here we go.
well, the other question I have for you is
Lee, what's
what
your Olympia predictions? Who gives a fuck? At Olympia. Who gives a shit about that? Come on.
I know. I was gonna ask you what guy do you like today? Which guy on the bodybuilder that I
Who
really
do I like?
motivate you? Yeah,
I don't have any of them motivate. No, I don't really. I like all because I like Hardy. He's got a good work ethic and shit
that's
like
for
that.
sure.
But just a disclaimer though, if Hardy gets second place and you see any backpacks, get out the auditorium. I'm just
Yeah,
giving a
that's
heads up, giving a heads
I've
up on that
heard.
right now.
I've heard.
I don't get that. I don't get the death threats when people don't win. It's like it's bodybuilding, but I like Nick because he trains hard too, and he's. People say he's arrogant, but he's just got a good belief in himself, so you can't knock a guy for that. But
Mm,
Samson, I like. I like a lot of them. I don't really think there's any I don't like. It's like all that stuff that was going on with Presti and Bruno. I think they're both good. So I think Martin. There's so many. Like I said, when it comes to predictions, there's so many guys where before when there was Ronnie or Phil or someone, there was a dominance. You knew they're going
right.
to win. Whereas now, to me, Hardy could win. Maybe Derek can win again. Fucking maybe Samson might nail it and win. Andrew
That's
Jack
right.
might do a Ronnie Coleman and fucking blow it. So I think that's what's making the show exciting. And
Yeah,
then we're talking about because the top six is going to be so hard to get in, I think. And then even from fifth or sixth down to 10th, you're still going to be good quality guys. Because
that's right.
to me, I could see Nick getting in it, but then Martin's coming in a few pounds heavier, and Martin only lost by 1 point, so that could be another matchup there. That's going to. I think the Olympia itself, when it comes to predictions, I'm like, because we've seen photos a week out, he's going to win too. He's going to win day to show. What fucking happened to him? It's like so. I always like to
Yeah.
wait till the day to show. Then I'm like, whatever happens, happens. So yeah.
I love it like this. Listen, I was a huge Ronnie fan, huge Phil Heath fan. But you knew who was going to win.
Yeah.
You even knew who was going to come in second. I like it
Mm-hmm.
like this way. You have no
Yeah.
idea where
Mm-hmm.
you slip up and
Mm-hmm.
you could really lose it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
much
people
rather it
people
like
forget
this.
it. People forget about Brandon. Brandon's been Mr. Olympia.
That's
If
right.
he nails it again, he could crack back into the top 5 or 6. So,
That's right.
as I said, I like that where it's more up in the air. Yes, we can say Derek might reclaim it again, but then again, maybe Hardy could. So it's not that
Mhm.
definite, like you said, set in stone. Remember, I used to love Formula One. You'd have some seasons where 7 races to go, but Schumacher's already got the title sewn up. So you're like, well, this is pretty boring. So it's
Right,
like,
right, right. Yeah. As much as like I said, as much as a fan I was of Ronnie and Phil, I much rather watch it now when you have no idea
yeah.
what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
much more fun. Lee, thank you very much. I will be in touch if
Thank
you
you.
want. I go live on Monday nights by myself, and then I do Muscle Talk on Wednesdays. I will reach out if you want to jump in and break
That's
Jason
that's
Onge's balls. That's
Tuesdays and Thursdays for me. I'm a day ahead.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah,
right,
I'm in the
right, right.
future.
Yeah,
Anything you want to know?
yeah.
Anything you want to know about tomorrow? You want the lotto numbers for tomorrow?
Yeah.
What do you want? bet on the brown horse. His name's Sky Tracker, number
Yeah.
7. Race number 6.
Yeah,
Out
yeah,
there
yeah.
out there at what's that racing out there? Hollywood Bowl
Bel
or whatever it's called.
Belmont. I
In
don't
in
know.
California.
The only one I know is Belmont in the Bronx.
There's something park out there. I can't remember what
No,
it's called out there near
Belmont. Yeah, I think
in
it is.
in
I
So
don't know.
bet on
They're
the
all over the.
brown horse Skywalker, race number
Yeah,
7.
yeah. Third horse, fourth race. There's your tip. That's it.
That's my tip.
Yeah, Lee. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch. Much love and
I'm glad.
respect.
I'm glad we really got into the bodybuilding side of stuff. It was good.
Yeah, I guarantee it's going to do much better than normal bodybuilding talk.
People were like, "What the fuck was that about?"
Yeah. Lee, thank you very much, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Later.